Good evening, everyone, and welcome to EduTALK. As you know already, EduTALK is a bi-weekly virtual talk show created out of the need of a global community focused on topics in education that directly impact Caribbean nations and diaspora nationals working across the globe. EduTALK features teachers, principals, administrators, business leaders, and dignitaries who share their expertise on critical topics facing education today, with a common goal of moving education forward and our students upwards. My name is Dr. Dwayne Dice. I'm your host and founder of Education Solutions International, Inc. Please visit educationsolutionsinternational.org and learn more about the programs that we offer to people in the Caribbean as well as across the globe. And also, if you want to subscribe to educationsolutionsinternational.org, you can also do so, as well as our YouTube channel, Education Solutions International TV. I am joined this evening by a wonderful young man. His name is Dr. Richard A. Cross, and Dr. Richard Cross is a high school. He's my high school. You call it classmate or year before my classmate. I think he graduated 1 year before me from Abotna Gallimore High School. He is a mentor by heart. Dr. Richard is a director of mentoring and tutoring. He's also an educator, a consultant, an author, and we're going to talk about the authorship as well as he's an empowerment speaker, a very powerful and dynamic individual we have on our show this evening. Welcome, Richard. It's very good to have this and share the space with you.
Well, Dr. Dice, I really appreciate it. As you can say, yeah, we've been coming from, the same high school, same parish and stuff like that. So again, thanks for giving me the opportunity to share with your audience and to, share some of the things that I've learned and what I've experienced over the years. And hopefully, it inspire and empower your listeners. So I'm here to, share as much as I can and empower those listeners. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm very happy to have you on. Can you just give us a little bit more? And I should tell our viewers before we go on. We're practically live in Dubai. This is my first time visiting Dubai here, and I understand if Dr. Barker doesn't come on as my co-host this evening, I understand what he goes through waking up like 3-4 o'clock in the morning local time here to actually be on for 8 p.m. Eastern time in New York. So I understand what he goes through. Anyway, talk to us a little bit about where you are now, because I know you just graduated probably a few weeks ago with your doctorate. A few months ago. Yes. Tell us a little bit about the journey and the title that you studied under, and give us a little bit about your thesis, your dissertation that you have done too. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. But before I even go and get into the doctoral part, I think it would be fair to share with the audience a little bit of my background upbringing. Growing up in Jamaica, growing up in poverty. And to be honest with you, I didn't do well academically when I was in high school. A lot of people even thought that I wasn't going to amount to much. And to be honest with you, I believe, their thoughts, their belief about me for a long time. Mm-hmm. So high school for me, my best thing in high school was track. I was one of the best athletes there. I believe track and field was my way out. It actually gave me an opportunity to go to GC, which I like. Went to GC College on grace because I didn't have the qualifications to start in Jamaica. When it doesn't matter what you don't have. He people in position to help get to the next level. So I went to GC College. Said that I was a person. I literally see my way through GC Foster College with a physical education and PE. And I went and take the test the following day, even without thinking about it. And I eventually became a police officer. So whilst in the police, that's the Jamaica Constabulary Force. So while serving, I was still doing my track and field. I eventually represent the Jamaica Constabulary Force in Miami. And I came across the coach of Lincoln University here in the States. And although he was there to recruit someone else, I beat the person that he went to recruit. And eventually, yes.
Yeah, I think we're breaking up a little bit.
Okay.
You're back on again.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. So he gave me the scholarship, offered it. And then I told him my age. And he said, man, sorry, you're too old. And he was walking away. And I said, Coach, if you want to know what someone does with an opportunity, give it to me. But coming to Lincoln really changed almost everything, my mindset, my belief about myself. I became the top student on campus with the highest GPA as a student athlete. And from then, I haven't looked back. I realized whilst I was here in the state, I had more potential than I believe I had when I was growing up.
I think we're losing you a little bit. Yeah, we're losing you a little bit every now and then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully it's clear right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So as I was saying, and I'm going to try and go through as fast as possible. As I said, became the top student, and I haven't looked back since. I published my first book whilst as a student, and that's when I started developing the desire to write. I graduated within 3 years here in the States, and then I followed doing my master's degree the following year. So I graduated bachelor's 2009 and 2010 with my master's degree, and then I started working. And, moved from Missouri to Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And there, I wasn't thinking about being a professor. I wasn't really thinking about going back to school, to be honest with you. But I started teaching, and I fell in love with teaching. And over the years, I started to inquire about the doctoral degree. Didn't know how I was going to do it. And eventually, I was out of a job. And I went to the University Park Atlanta and inquired about a degree. They accepted me on the spot. And also, although I was out of a job at the time, and they offered me a job on the spot. Wow. So from there, I just went on to studying my doctoral degree. And as I know you asked what my doctoral degree topic was, it's the impact of emotional intelligence on academic performance of Black male students. So I choose that topic because, as I said to you, during high school, I wasn't that student who was supposed to be successful, who was supposed to go on to do something else. So I realized that it wasn't a cognitive issue that I had. Growing up, it was more so of my social environment, how I've become emotionally attached to the limiting beliefs of myself and the stigmas and labels that was placed on me. So I realized that if I'm going to help the students, I have to understand that some of these students have some of the same issues. They have become attached to certain labels, certain stigmas, and certain perception of themselves. So that really gave me an insight on looking into, what may cause some students, especially Black males, from doing well academically. And as I said to you, and it's not only Black male students, a lot of times when we don't do as well as we are capable of, It's not a cognitive issue we're dealing with, because you have seen students before who have started off real slow and then become this great student. So it's the same person, it's just the perception change. And that's how I approach my mentoring. And I'm so fortunate because, I've gone through that path where, I was that student who wasn't seen as someone who was supposed to be successful. So that's kind of my journey I take out a whole lot of the hardship that I've gone through, but that's kind of give you a breakdown of my journey to now in a nutshell.
Right, and I understand. Thank you so much for sharing that with humility, because we all understand. You and I understand what it is like growing up in a low income family home.
That's right.
And the focus is not totally education. It's to survive. It's really to survive first, and then if you can go to school, you can go to school. But it's to eat. It's to find food first. So we understand that, and the impact that has on you in giving back is to look for something that you can be successful at, but also to give back to young people.
Yes.
Yeah, give us your take on the education. You said that it's not the ability, but the perspective of the student to put themselves into studying and to apply yourself more. And you talk about the social environment, coming out of that social environment and changing that, and being in a more productive area that you focus on education and growth, because you see something out there. Give us your take on the transition, from one environment to the next, and then the focus on education.
Well, yes, and that's a great question or perspective, because for me, the environment, yes, of course, has a lot to do with how we perform at times. Although you may have seen some people in that bad area still perform. However, but it doesn't work for everyone. It's a small percentage. So their needs are, like how am I going to survive and stuff like that. So that affected me. So I was focused more so on what I don't have and not what I should be doing, so I can change that perspective or that lifestyle. So coming here in the States, it gave me hope, to be honest with you. Although things started to change before I got here, because I started working, I started making money, but I still had that limiting beliefs, although I have money, because money itself doesn't really.
You have to struggle with the breaking up here. Richard, I want you to start back, because we're losing you every now and then. You talk about money. Yeah, start. What did you say about money?
Yes. So prior to coming here, I started working. So I started making money. So money wasn't really an issue per se, again, because I started working as a professional, as a police officer. But coming in this environment gave me a different perspective of myself. So having money itself doesn't really make you change the perception you have of yourself. You can buy things, but that doesn't mean you change how you think about yourself. His topic was "You Matter." And I didn't realize that I didn't believe that I mattered at the time. But I believe that guy was speaking to me. He said he said a few things that I take away. I still have my folder somewhere here in the house. That's from 2006, when he spoke. But he said, if you're the smartest person in your group, you need another group. If you don't love yourself, say to yourself until you do. And if you don't believe you can be successful, tell yourself that you will be successful until you believe.
Oh man, it's a pity we're breaking up so much. It's really, really it's
I wonder if it's a signal on my end now. I'm not sure.
yeah. But that's you repeat what you just said, because about if you don't love yourself, tell yourself until you believe
You
it.
do. Yes. So, being here on campus, my first semester, I believe wholeheartedly that the guy came to speak to me. So he said, if you don't believe in yourself, say it until you do. And if you don't believe you can be successful, tell yourself that you will be successful until you do. I take that wholeheartedly. I start saying that thing to myself every single day. In my academic performance. So after the second semester, I was the top student athlete on campus with the highest GPA. So, once we start to change the belief about ourselves, it doesn't matter the environment. It doesn't matter. Well, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter the environment. The environment for me here was much better than Jamaica, of course. So, but what you tell yourself in the process matters. And that's where a lot of people think they're not talking to themselves, or they don't have this negative self-talk, but they do, because it's not, as I said before, it's not a cognitive issue we're really dealing with when it comes to our students. It's their perception of themselves. They have a perception of who they are, and they take on that label or that stigma, and they live their life out from that perspective. And if we can get them to change that perspective of themselves, then we will have students, doing well, because innately the ability is there for them to do well. So it's just for us to help them to tap into their innate greatness, and we'll start to see change. Change, of course, takes time, because it will take some time for them to build that confidence. And from the confidence, they will be motivated, and they start taking the action that's going to help them to be successful.
Yeah. That's very powerful. They're powerful statements that you just used there with self-talk. It's very, very important. And they're real. They're very real.
Yes.
You tell yourself. It's very good. I wish people who are listening and watching will actually adopt those the tendency to self-talk in a positive way, because it's real. It's really feed on the subconscious. So it's true. It's very real. What pertaining to your authorship, give us some of the titles that you have written, and just tell me a little bit about your books, basically.
All right. So it's a lot of books. I may just mention a few. I already published 20 books. So I will start off with maybe with the first 5, to be honest with you, because it's going to take forever. So my first book, which I published in college, which is The Experiences Through the Human Eyes, where I talk a lot about my own experiences or what I've seen in my peers growing up in Jamaica. And that one was more so about the hardship, but it was also a more a poetry type book. So I like writing poems. I do that every year. But I then went on to write Going Beyond Limitations, which I talk a little bit more about my challenges as a child. That I didn't have electricity, that I didn't sleep on a bed until I was 19 years old. That's that I grew up with. And in that book, I also talk about the principles that I've applied to, achieve my goals, like let go of limiting beliefs, nurturing your uniqueness, identify your ability and nurturing, taking action. And self-talk is also a part of the principles, because, a lot of times we do talk ourselves out of what we want to do. I went on to wrote the Student Oracle, which I share a lot of the things that I've applied within the 3 years of my college experience, my undergrad, that helped me to become the top student on campus, which I've maintained once I, get to be the top student on campus. So I maintained that until I graduated my undergrad. And also wrote discipline. Discipline, without discipline, you will not achieve any goal. It doesn't matter how talented you are. It doesn't matter how many connections you have. Without discipline, you're not going to see your own potential, because discipline helps you to activate, make your greatness become what it can be. So that's what that book is about. And I also wrote Awaken the Leader Within, a crisis. Leadership, it doesn't matter if you have a role or a position, you can lead from where you are, because I believe all leaders should bring out the best in others. So you can do that from wherever you sit. You can be a leader just, from whatever seat you're sitting in. Because all our responsibility should to help bring out the best in others. So I will not go on and on with the book, but that's which I can share some other time.
Yeah, powerful. I'm enjoying it because you're really telling it's truth. It's not fictional at all. It's because I've lived it. Everything that you're saying right there, is really real. It exists. It's not just even in our brain or in our intellect, but it's reality, where this is lived experience. I really appreciate you sharing the idea of the self-talk, as I said, but also believe in oneself. And there's no way you could move away from mentorship. And this is what I'm listening to you and knitting together the mentorship part of it. But you're living a mentorship life that you are formed that self, that mentorship self within you, and you start to just radiate it out to other people. It's really powerful. So pertaining to the books, before we move on, I want to tell listeners where to find your books, and see if they can grab a copy or two of some of them. So where can they get these?
They can find it on goingbeyondlimitations.com, and also on Positively Shaping the Future.
Okay. Going Beyond Limitations is, tell us a little bit about that. That's your website?
Yes, that's the website. So there you will find the consulting services. You will also find, a little bit about who I am and, what I provide and stuff like that. And that's basically, and the books are there. And I also have a goal that I'm trying to reach there, because one of my thing right now is to give back, especially to Jamaica. So I'm raising, I'm actually selling 5,000 copies to give away 100 proceeds of 5,000 copies of the book to help 10 students to go to college. As you said, we know what it's like not to have certain things. And even in our time, we have seen students with the ability to do well. They could have been doctors, lawyers, but those students didn't get an opportunity to further their education because of poverty and stuff like that. So that's one of my motivation every day, to help in that regards, because, for me, it was just God's grace. That's it. It wasn't because I was the best athlete. It wasn't because I was the smartest. God just placed the right people. So, it's just right for me to give back. So, but for the books, they can find it at Going Beyond Limitations and Positively Shaping the Future. And all the books are on Amazon as well.
Okay, that's what I want to find, because Amazon is a go-to, so they can check it out. Give us, I'm gonna drop when we're finished your website in the YouTube chat, so that they can see the description. So tell us a little bit more about how the website came about. What is the website? Because I wanted to repeat it so that people can hear it. And tell us a little bit. Yeah.
Well, the website came about, it's from my first book, goingbeyondlimitations.com, because at first I thought that was the book that I was going to write. I didn't see all these other books, to be honest with you. And I'm coming up with 5 books in the summer as well. But Going beyond limitation itself is just the premise, the foundation of what I've done and what I want other people to do is to go beyond their limitations. Their limitations may not be poverty. Their limitations may be fear or thinking less of themselves or living their life according to the label society placed on them.
Mhm.
So those are different limitations, or because they're from a single parent home, or their parents didn't go to college. A lot of times those are different the limitations that some people hold on to. So it's for me to help them to realize that it doesn't matter what it is right now, you can go beyond that, because
Mhm.
innately
We have lost him again. It went on for a little while longer this time.
yes,
Yeah. Oh,
some
you're
of the
back up again.
point, yes, some of the
Oh,
points are there on the website, that I talk about going beyond limitations.
oh, okay. Okay. All right. And so going beyond limitations.com, we'll have that in the chat, in the description after we're finished here. All right. So so now people have an idea, more than an idea of who you are. Very, very powerful. I'm actually learning a lot too. What do you do now in terms of the programs that you are involved in at your current location and your school, Lincoln? Is it Lincoln University?
Yes, Lincoln University of Missouri.
Missouri. Okay. So tell us
Yes.
about, and I noticed that, congratulations, by the way, on your new role.
Thank you.
Yeah, so give us a little bit. Is Director of Retention
Mentoring and tutoring.
and Tutoring. Okay. So tell us a little bit about that role, and what you're involved in now at Lincoln University.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that question. Yes, currently the role is Director of Mentoring and Tutoring. So I'll be in charge of having mentors to, help the students on campus. So our group of some students will be working with me directly, which I will help them to become the best mentors for the students. So these students will have different responsibilities, and of course they will have to, meet the requirement and stuff like that. So, but my role is to empower these students who will be serving as mentors and tutors to the student body, which will be going over different things. I haven't fully flushed out everything because this is a new role, so I'm looking at what others are doing and to see how I can be most effective. One of my goals going into the fall semester is to help to create a culture of academic excellence. So we want to change the academic performance of the school body, because one, we have been losing our male students, because that was the department I was working in retention. So our goal now is to retain more of our students. So I'm now charged with that responsibility to empower the students that will be working with me to help to create that culture of excellence on campus. So I'm looking forward to, I haven't been talking to the students yet that who will be working directly with me and I'll be working with other staff on campus as well, because this is still going to be a collective effort where we all have to, see the vision of retaining our students. But I'm excited about it. And, as you said, I embodied the mentorship. I remember my mentor told me a few years ago that whatever you're going to be, I want people to be, you be it, be the example. So I try my best to be the example, because that's more valuable than telling someone what to do. So I try my best to be that example, especially to the students that I've been entrusted to serve. So, that I have to do it the way I do it. And I just, believe that being the example is the best way. Not just telling the students, but showing up as the person that you are trying to. Not they don't have to become me, but just be that example. From respecting yourself and just follow through on the things that you say you're going to do.
Yeah, yeah. All right, good. So we introduced the mentorship and your title job as it were. So why males? Because today I want to spend a little bit of time talking about males. Because right now we're in my company, Education Solutions International, we're actually focusing on boys a little bit more these days. Going into the summer, we have a few initiatives that we're putting together to focus on boys in the Caribbean. We also have a certain amount of focus in not just this summer, but boys, to motivate boys. Over the years, we have seen the changes, the shift in they're becoming at-risk youth, and it's mostly boys that are affected in this regard. But in your case, you mentioned that you're focusing on men, and I see a lot of your posts have to do with empowering, like Thai, making sure you have a Thai event and so on, and empowering males. What's the focus here? Why males so much in the focus?
Well, as you said, males are at risk and at so many different levels, from systematic, from a systematic perspective, males are at risk, right? So not to say there are not programs out there for males, but what I've seen, there are a lot more programs out there for females, and females tends to have that strong support or that guidance. So I have found out to become what you want a child to be, right? It's best or easier if they can see it. So it's easier to become what you see. And we know that in high school and college, more males are dropping out of school. So if more males are dropping out, there needs to be programs that's going to help, in this regards to prevent, because it's not, we don't want them to drop out. We want them to stay there so we don't have to deal with them outside of the school system. So program has to be there to help these males see themselves beyond the stigmas or the labels, because again, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy is happening, right? From a systematic perspective, we know that the system have a lot of different racial tone when it comes to Black males. And we see these things, we see the negative depiction in movies, we see the negative depiction especially now on social media, right? So if we're going to counteract those negative depictions, we have to have programs that's going to help to change how males see themselves. And if we don't do this, later, just imagine our community not going to have the productive male leaders as we would want to, because it's not about this generation, it's about the next generation or generations to come. So what we implement now is to form that foundation to help males, especially the younger males, to see themselves beyond those labels and negative images that has been displayed. So that's one of the reasons why I really started the mentoring, to empower males to see themselves beyond those labels, because I believe how you see yourself, that's how you're going to show up. So part of the mentoring is about cultivating positive self-image, because once you see yourself in a positive way, you're going to show up in a positive way. So we want to see more males in the community to start, becoming their best self, because we need to be pillars of our community, and we have to help the next generation to realize that.
Yeah, that's very true. That is so true. Importantly, how you see yourself, that's how you're gonna show up. Is very, very, very good. Yes. So what you mentioned programs. What are some of the programs that you implemented already? You don't have to share. If you want to talk about what's coming up, maybe in a book or so on, maybe later on, you could pivot to that, or just share some practical initiatives that you have implemented that impacted males.
Okay. Well, there's a program also on campus, which is LU mentoring, which is just on campus program, but we also do ties, which is taking initiative for your educational success. So although we're teaching, tying ties, that's the catch to get the younger males to come and participate. But the goal is to talk about the value of education, because education is the equalizer. With education, you can change your life forever, right? And that's something that once you get it, no one can take it away from you. So the goal is to empower the students to realize the importance of education, and education can give you the opportunity to have a more level playing field, despite the what you'd say now, the injustices, right? We still realize that education still will provide you the opportunities to achieve beyond the ordinary. So we talk a lot about education and the importance of it, even in the programs. And also, I did Dress Like a Success. That was focused more so on the impact on self-image.
Okay, all right. So these are good, and other people can adopt those too. Like I remember when I was teaching in Jamaica, there was we encouraged the young boys to how to tie a tie. So we had a tie day that they learn how to tie a tie, how to brush their shoes, how to iron their clothes, to show up as their best self. What are some of the things we tell? Because I know retention is a big problem, because you mentioned earlier on that there more boys or males are dropping out of school all the way up to universities more than females. So what are some of the motivations that we give to boys or young men to cause them to stay and value education, especially in your case, where your experience with them?
Well, that's a great question. What are some of the things I tell them? I try to my very best to be honest with them. I try to speak to them from a place where I'll connect with them. So it's not to use all the different terminologies and stuff like that, because that doesn't really, not to say it doesn't matter, but I try to speak from a place of understanding, where I share my story and how I can relate to what they're going through and how they may see themselves. Because most of that's the type of conversations we have. We talk about, what are some of the things that they see in their community that cause them to think less of themselves. So we kind of go more deep into those things. And why do you think that that's happening? And, they will tell you that the why.
I think we're losing him again.
So
okay, go on. We just lost
once we get the students to understand that they can break those barriers, right? They will, but they have to get into that space where we can have those conversations and break down the trials and break down the perception that they have of themselves, and realize that the perception that they have of themselves, which is not like positive, is more so of what they have been take on.
Yeah, okay, you're back up again. All right, so the possibilities that you talk about, which is taking on those possibilities, I want to ask you, to pertaining to the possibilities that you mentioned, that you motivate young people towards taking on. And you know, they're coming from some volatile communities, some of these young people. We recently interviewed some students from Jamaica, head boy and head girl, and in Clarendon. And they mentioned certain communities that students are coming from, and the school is actually trying to change the mindset of those students that are coming, who are coming from those communities. Do you experience or have experience of students who have who are from volatile or like gang related communities that you tap into extra energy in order to motivate those students? Have you experienced some of those in your line of work?
Yes. To go directly to the question, and to connect to those students it's going to be about trusting you, and can you relate to my experience? My experience is not as bad as some of the students that I've taught.
Wait, we're gonna have to start over that one. Richard, when you get back on, because of the connection, start again.
Yes, so I try to connect to the students from an honest perspective, although their experience may be different from mine in regards to a more violent community, because growing up in Alexandria wasn't really a violent community, but I can relate to them in regards to my social status, because although they are more crime community, maybe our social status are similar. So I find where the affinity is, and I build.
All right, so the social affinity, it's a very good one. I don't know why we're losing you so often, but you're mentioning some really good approaches that we can take as educators and even parents, which is looking at the not the conditions where they find themselves in, but the social experience that we can share between individuals. And I think that's what the communities are doing, where guidance counselors are going out into these communities and allowing them to see that there are students who are sharing your experience, even if you're from a volatile community. There are students here who are sharing your experience based on a social level. It's a social experience that they're having, and see if they can change their mindset from that perspective.
Oh yeah, you have to have that cultural competence. So you have to understand the students that you're serving and be able to let them know that you understand. You see what I'm saying? So once they know you understand their environment, it's easier for them to open up to you or talk to you. And once you break that barrier, then you can pour into them the things that they need to do to apply.
Yeah. I want to ask you to Richard, because we're winding down to the end of the show today.
Yes.
Yeah, so I want to ask you, I wish those who are listening and watching and educators among us will take these things very seriously, especially in a practical way to implement among students. Because you don't have to, Dr. Cross here is coming from an tertiary institution with the application, but this can be applied to elementary school and to high school as well, the principle. What aspect in going into the summer now, and we're looking at reviving and re-energizing ourselves for a new school year in general. It could be tertiary or secondary or elementary. What are some of the motivation and positivity that we should bring into the summer to get us into the right mindset as we prepare for a new school year, be educators or students?
I would start with educators. I think I know educators may need a break during the summer, which is okay. With break
Yeah,
is okay, because I know the work can be demanding. But I think
I'm gonna ask him to start over again, because it's the connectivity. And as you can see, viewers, we're having connectivity problems. We might have to bring Richard back on where we don't have any connectivity. So start again, Richard, with going into the summer.
so. Yes, so going into the summer, yes, educators do need to take their breaks. I know that teaching can be demanding, but I think going into the fall semester, I will encourage all teachers, all educators to go approach the job with a strong sense of purpose. Know why they're going there.
Mhm. All right. So what he was saying is to approach a job with a strong purpose. And I think that, continue with
Yes,
the strong
so
purpose.
yes, strong sense of purpose. And with the students, I think students need to just approach school, especially higher education students and maybe high school, with an open mind. Go and willing to learn. The educators are already there. They have something to share, and also be willing to share your.
And willing to share
Yeah,
experience.
so yes, so students need to be open-minded and be willing to share their experience because they too are there to educate and help, their teachers to understand them.
You brought that's a good point too, which is to share your journey and your story, because
Mm.
you actually it's your experience, it's your life that you're living, and that experience will actually help the teachers to plan for you your learning, and you contribute to the whole the journey, your journey, and a collective journey of people in the same environment as well. That's a it's the opposite of sharing a single story, where you share your collective story and it becomes a part of the school, and the collective. Yes. What the final question I want to ask you here is what motivates you? What motivates you? There we go.
That is a good question. That question, I get these questions all the time.
Okay.
What motivates me? Just what really motivates me is giving back. To be honest with you, I think I look forward to giving back every day. I'm already looking forward to giving back tomorrow already,
Yeah.
because so that really drives me. So I know I will always have people to share with or to empower. So those are the things that really, and just to be that example for others, that motivates me. And to do my best so I can help my people back home. I tell you, and that's also my motivation every day, because I know what it's like in Jamaica, not just growing up, but I know in Jamaica, it is challenging for a lot of people. So I go hard so I can achieve my goals, so I can help as many people as possible there. So that's one of my goals. So I will always have people to help. So I'm looking forward to starting that journey real soon. Because once the country is better, things will be better. And
Yeah.
more people will, somebody within someone's family, will help their family to come out of the situation that they were born into, because we didn't choose that journey. I like to tell people today when I go places and speak that I was fortunate to born in the situation, because it really strengthened me, and to be the person I am today. So those are the things that really motivate me, and so.
Yeah, that's good. That's powerful. Um, and the focus is on males. We're gonna do some things together, get you involved with the educators and the schools more, on a collective level, so you can reach more people. But it's powerful, the journey that you have and the impact that has caused, through you on individual students, individuals that you come across. So that's very good. It's very good to have you on, Dr. Richard Cross, and congratulations on your new role,
Yes,
in
sir.
the school, to be director of mentoring and tutoring at Lincoln University in Missouri. Powerful statements that you have there, and wonderful books. Remind us where we can get your books again. I know it's on Amazon, and give us a few of your titles again.
All right. You can get the book at goingbeyondlimitations.com, positivelyshapingthefuture.com, and also Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where most of the books are sold, because I think because people get it right very soon once they purchase it on Amazon. So a few of the book titles, I have the experiences through the human eyes, which that is not in print right now. But Going Beyond Limitations, the student oracle, and I can see up here, it's time to be all that you can be. Let's rewrite the narrative. Black boys stand up. Time to own your greatness. Unleash your inner power. Success habits that make millionaires, and Black letters to future Black educators, to name a few.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. It's 20 different books.
Yeah.
So they're all on the website Going Beyond Limitations, though,
Yeah,
and also
yeah.
on Amazon.
I'm gonna get you to be back on. I'm gonna invite you back on to share about a lot of those, especially when we move close to like Black History Month, or somewhere around anything to do with Caribbean. Because right now, one of the features we're doing, as because of what you're doing in this month, which is American Caribbean, it's Caribbean American Heritage Month, June. So that's why we're featuring this in here, where people can see that there are more books out there with, I don't call ourselves African American, we're Caribbean people, but they can get that type of literature outside of America. So the US, we're talking about mainland US. So they don't have to say that, oh, not many people of color writing. They have people of color writing, but it's to get their hands on these materials, so they can impact more lives, especially people of color, more lives. Thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it, and the fighting through the connectivity level. I don't know if it's coming from my end here, where I am in the Middle East. I don't know if that's what is causing it.
I'm not sure either.
Yeah, but it's fine. We're going to get you on to talk about some of those books. The titles, they sound very good, and also we're going to put some of the links in the description of the video, so that people can go on and share in your own intellectual knowledge, as well as a journey that they can adopt the principles to their own lives. All right, thank you so much, Richard, for coming on, and thank you for sharing in this such a humble way, and continue the journey to uplift people. Okay.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, viewers. Thank you so much for viewing, of course. And please remember to go to educationsolutionsinternational.org and subscribe to our website, and you'll be a part of our newsletter. From time to time, there's an article that is on there. My most recent article is Juneteenth. So happy Freedom Day, as well as Father's Day. Both of them fell on the same day, on Sunday. So there's an article on the website, educationsolutionsinternational.org. It's a very short article. It takes about a minute to read. And you can read through that and see one of my most important take on that. It's Freedom Day. And actually, Father's Day is to rid ourselves of mental slavery. So you can go on and look at ways that we can stop doing what we're doing, because it's a type of mental slavery or suppression of the mental capacity, as it were. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming on, and walk good, everybody. And we'll have another show for you next week, Tuesday night, Eastern time, 8 o'clock. Okay. Take care, everybody. Bye. And Richard, thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
Man, thank you.